The conflict between Israel and the Palestinians is one of the world's longest-running and most contentious disputes, with roots stretching back over a century. Its origins are tied to competing national aspirations, historical connections to the land, and the legacies of imperial rule and war. Over the decades, the conflict has involved a series of wars, uprisings, and persistent disputes over land, borders, and rights, with repercussions that are still felt today. Before 1948, the area known as Palestine was under British control. Britain had taken over from the Ottoman Empire after World War I, inheriting a region where an Arab majority lived, alongside a Jewish minority and other ethnic groups. The Balfour Declaration of 1917, in which Britain pledged support for a national home for Jewish people in Palestine, deepened tensions between Jews and Palestinian Arabs. Both groups had historical claims to the land, and the British promised to protect the rights of the existing Arab population. Throughout the 1920s to the 1940s, the Jewish population in Palestine grew as Jews fled persecution in Europe, including the horrors of the Holocaust. By 1947, Jews made up just over 30% of the population. Amid escalating violence between communities and with Britain preparing to withdraw, the United Nations proposed splitting Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. Arab nations rejected the plan, arguing it unfairly favored Jews, whose population was smaller. On May 14, 1948, as British rule ended, Jewish leaders declared the independent state of Israel. The next day, 5 Arab armies attacked the new state, triggering the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. By the end of the conflict in 1949, Israel controlled most of the territory allocated for both the Jewish and Arab states under the UN plan. Egypt occupied the Gaza Strip, Jordan took the West Bank and East Jerusalem, and Israel held West Jerusalem. Around 750,000 Palestinians fled or were forced from their homes in what they call the Nakba, or catastrophe. Many became lifelong refugees. In the years following, hundreds of thousands of Jews left or were expelled from Muslim-majority countries in the Middle East and North Africa, with many resettling in Israel. The boundaries and dynamics of the conflict shifted dramatically again in 1967 during the Six-Day War. Israel, fearing attack from Egypt and Syria, launched a preemptive strike. By the war's end, Israel had seized the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza from Egypt, the Golan Heights from Syria, and the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan. About 1 million Palestinians came under Israeli control, and Israel's occupation of these territories continues to this day. While Israel returned the Sinai to Egypt after a 1979 peace treaty, it annexed East Jerusalem and the Golan Heights, moves not recognized by most of the international community. Today, the West Bank is home to approximately 3 million Palestinians. Along with East Jerusalem and Gaza, it is widely known as part of the occupied Palestinian territories. The majority of the international community supports the idea that these territories should form a future Palestinian state. Since the 1990s, the Palestinian Authority has governed most West Bank towns and cities, though Israel maintains overall control. Controversially, there are around 160 Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, housing about 700,000 Jews. Most of the world considers these settlements illegal under international law, but Israel disputes this and sees at least the largest settlements as permanent. Israel's government, particularly since 2022, has expanded settlement activity and does not recognize the right to a Palestinian state, arguing that the West Bank is part of Israel's historical homeland. In July 2024, the International Court of Justice, the UN's top court, weighed in on Israel's ongoing presence in these territories, reflecting continued international engagement with the conflict's unresolved issues. The struggle over land, identity, and security, compounded by decades of violence and dispossession, remains at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Each side continues to hold on to deeply felt narratives, and efforts to resolve the dispute have so far proven elusive, leaving the region's future uncertain.